The Ruined King game is coming out this year, and with it, a brand new story for Bilgewater, the Shadow Isles, and Runeterra as a whole. So, I'm making a series of videos with everything you should know before jumping into the game. From the Blessed Isles to the Ruination, to the harrowing and the lawless Bilgewater. But I also talk about Rise, his order, and why he's traveling to Bilgewater, how Ionia, Demacia, and the Black Rose are interested in the Shadow Isles, and more. So join me in this journey and rise against the Ruined King. You can consider this part 0. This video will be a guide for you if you want to go and read the stories for yourself. In truth, you can start anywhere, with any story you want, without having to read other stories prior. League of Legends stories are usually self-contained, in the sense that you don't need to read other stories to understand what's happening in one particular story. But obviously, you will understand the story better if you do, and you'll have more context of the region or characters present in said story. I'm sure that there will be enough exposition in Ruined King to not leave you hanging, and that even people that don't know anything about the lore will get up to speed on the Bilgewater and Shadow Isles lore, or at least the lore necessary to understand the story of the game. With this being said, if you want to know more about the regions where the game will be set, as well as their characters, I'm here to help you. The essential stories to read are Viego's, Echorim's and Callista's Bayou, Burning Tides, and Shadow and Fortune. In my opinion, these are rich enough to let you know most of the context surrounding the Shadow Isles, Bilgewater, and the Harrowing. But if you want to be a completionist and read them all, here's my suggestion. Start with the bios of Maokai, Thresh, and Yorick, in any order, and then the bios of Viego, Callista, and Echorim. The only reason I advise to read those 3 first is that their bios depict the Blessed Isles before Callista arrived. Essentially, it's for chronological reasons. In truth, you can read any of the bios and then jump into their color stories. After reading Thresh's bio, you can also watch Non-Escape. After reading Callista's, you can watch The Pledge, and after reading Echorim's, you can watch Tales of the Black Mist. After learning the stories of these 5 champions, you're ready for the story The Echoes Left Behind. The following ones are not essential to understand the Shadow Isles, but are also good ones to read, like Rise's bio, to get a better idea of the order from the Blessed Isles, and if you want, read the rest of his stories. Vladimir's stories, since he has some connections to Viego and to the Blessed Isles. The story The Darling is a very interesting one, since Callista also appears there. This one is exclusive to the book. Elise and Karthus are also obviously tied to the Shadow Isles. You can check their bios and then their stories as well. Nocturne was recently tied to the Shadow Isles in Legends of Runeterra, but his stories don't tell us anything about this connection, so you don't miss anything by skipping them. Lucian and Senna's stories, however, are important. Lucian and Senna are part of an order very connected to the Blessed Isles, and Senna's soul was once imprisoned by Thresh, and at this point in the lore, they are set on defeating the Ruined King. I think they are very likely to show up in the game. As always, start with their bios, then you can read Shadows and Reflection and Hunter of Shadows. Here you can read Shadow and Fortune, or wait later since the story is happening in Bilgewater. Either way, read Homebound, and then Dark Passage, The Climb, and Shadow's Embrace. Then read The Voices of the Dead and Redeemed, and finally finishing with the cinematic Ruination. For Bilgewater, I recommend reading the bios of Graves, Twisted Fate, Misfortune, and Gangplank, followed by their stories, in any order you like, and also Ilaoi's bio, but not her story. You can, however, watch Trial of the Kraken Priestess, which was a flash game promoting her release. After that, read Burning Tides, The Burden, which is Ilaoi's story, and then Shadow and Fortune. After this, you can read the comic Fortune Smiles and the story Dead in the Water to know more about Misfortune, and Destiny and Fate, followed by the cinematic Double Cross and Don't Mess with Yordles to know what TF and Graves are up to. At this point, the only thing missing from Bilgewater is its myth characters. As always, read the bios in any order you like, from Nautilus, Fizz, and Temkench, who also has a cool video. Pike's bio, his story, and video are also important since he is a main character in the game. With his release in League of Legends came a set of Bilgewater audio dramas, which featured stories with Nautilus, Fizz, and Temkench. Pike also makes an appearance. The only characters left are Yasuo, Ahri, and Braum. For Ahri, start with her bio, then you can read her 3 stories in any order you want, finishing with Perennial. For Yasuo, after reading his bio, the chronological order of his stories are A Sword Without a Sheath, The Road to Ruin, The Bird and the Branch, Confessions of a Broken Blade, Orchid's Bloom, Brotherhood, and then the cinematic King of the Stained Blade. For Braum, you can read his bio, his story, and watch his short videos, in any order you want. To learn more about this door, you can read one of the Lost Tales of Ornn, the one named The Troll and the Ram Door. Also, don't forget to watch the raid. And that's it, those are all the stories. As I said, you likely don't need to read anything to understand the game, but if you want to, a good way to be invested is to start with the bio of a champion you like, and then read their color story. After that, you can jump to another story where that champion appears, or jump to another champion. I will leave a list of all the stories that I read before the making of these videos, so you can see if you missed anything. The book, the Universe site, and Legends of Runeterra cards are also good places to start to quickly learn about regions and characters and see which ones interested you the most before jumping into the stories. The next video will be the first actual lore video, where I'll explain the Blessed Isles.